working, in the factories, etc. When they came back, and this was true especially of Germany in particular, that's why you find the most militant, or initially you found the most militant challenges to society coming out of that society, Germany. Which is surprising, because these people are what? Originally Calvinistic Christian. They're not even what? They're not even Catholic for that matter. German is a Lutheran Calvinistic society, which is really far more conservative than the Brits or the Swedes or the Italians or anybody for that matter. But because you saw the shift and this change in society, which was unnatural. Many of the men who came back were maimed, either physically or mentally. They couldn't even function properly. So you saw the rise of this centuries for men, women, that a woman stays at home and she's a mother, and this is the role of a grandmother, this is the role of a grandfather. All of that in their society was absolutely upside down by the end of World War II. Then came the second phase, right? That where homosexual rights, or gay rights as they call it, was initially supported by the government, not because they liked them in any way, but because they saw it as a counter to other movements that were gaining attention in society. In the 1960s, you saw the civil rights movements in the United States, right? Led by people like Martin Luther King, led by Al-Hajj Malik al-Shabazz, Malcolm X. They may have been the faces of it, but it became like a popular thing. We may have received less information of it here in South Africa because, of course, an apartheid-censored type of news media doesn't want everybody to know that this is what is happening in a big supporter of apartheid like the US. But it was a big thing, and now that we know more about it, we understand that how that changed society in a big way. But you know what? When you have a government of the day, the government of the day not only counters any movement by hitting out against it directly. What they do is that they create side-by-side movements to distract, therefore to create some sort of a illusion that no, this is the real movement, not that. We don't only see it in society, we've seen it in deen for that matter. Qadianism. How do you think Qadianism or Ghulam Mirza Ahmad Qadiani was even supported, and why was he supported by the British? Because they saw him as some sort of a counter to the Mujahideen movement that was now active in the 1800s. That if people are busy and distracted with him, especially in the places of Punjab or whatever where he came from, the Mujahideen will not be able to get a stronghold in that particular part of the world. So these counter movements are always support that when they stand together demanding for their rights. Picture this here. You have an African American in the 1960s say, I want my rights. But then right next to him, you have a pink dressing homosexual also saying, I want my rights. In the eyes of a conservative public, what? Both of them seem to belong to the same boat over here. Both of them are rebels against society. Even though one person is absolutely legitimate by saying that I want what is due to me, and the other one is a counter. In the eyes of the voting public, the tax-paying public, both of them are put in the same boat. Why? Because they both appear on the same stage. So the government actually started off or assisted this type of militancy. Then came, of course, phase 2. Was where you had security, this is what I'm referring to, where you had security agencies allowing association in the hope that it will discredit the civil rights movement among a still conservative America. In the 1950s and 60s, America wasn't what it is today. To society, to have people pitch on the same platform is nothing but discrediting the legitimate or the legitimate voice of people. Then comes phase 3. The government forgets about them. Says, you know what? Our job is done. The civil rights movement have gone like this and they've done a 180 degree and we have given them some rights. We have appeased them. Martin Luther King is shot dead. Malcolm X, Malik al-Hajj Shabazz Rahmatullah alayhi is in the Qabristan. All of these leaders are now gone. We've given them some rights, so even though they've got no rights, let them believe that they still have got some rights. We no longer need and require the support of the gay movement any longer. But by that point in time, even in their society, because of support, legitimate, I would say for them, legitimate and strong support from the government side, you have the tolerance of the gay lifestyle. And they will create that tolerance, of homosexual lifestyle by promoting people attached to the skill that they have, but promoting the gay individual, creating gay communities and precincts within major cities. So like how you had a Chinatown in every city, right? San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, London, Paris. You had a Chinatown, an active or Chinatown where people from that area would come. It would be a tourist attraction that you want to taste crab or this or that, not you know where to go. Go to Chinatown, have a good time and come out of there. Create such precincts and areas so that they could market it that this is some novelty that we have inside our city. That you want to know what to do, you come to a particular town. Well, you know what, you can go for a hike, but what if hiking is not my thing? Style. They had no love for them initially. All they were is that they were a marketable community, that people who want to, like how you go to a zoo and look at the kangaroo from outside and say that this is from Australia, this is from here, and look at something as, you know, an ajib, out of the world type of a makhluk and creation. They created these precincts for that particular reason, that they were a marketable community. Then came the period of the 70s and 80s, wherein you had something known as the 501c3. You know, like how we have like a tax write-off? We have like a tax write-off for your donations, that you donate to a certain cause and you are able to write off, you know, tax. In America, this particular type of phenomena started in the 70s, known as the 501c3. That where up to 25% of the income of an individual, individuals also, and the income of the income of a company can be written out or written off if you now donate to an NPO, NGO. So you saw a proliferation of NPOs and NGOs in this period of time. Most of them bogus. Feed the dogs, look after the cats, look after the canaries that have been abandoned by their owners, all types of nonsense type of NGOs, like how you have today, you know what I mean, so that they could now create, maybe the original founder was sincere, they really were interested in the canaries or whatever the case may be, but the whole idea of the marketing itself, that you know what, here's an opportunity to be too far, it's right here, so it is sooner or later, it's going to come back to us. You saw a proliferation of NGOs and NPOs advocating the whole empathy around them so that we could now collect money. Then the next stage of this phase, or next point of this phase 3, decriminalizing physical homosexual interaction by funding scientific research. This is something which we should always be concerned about. We are not against science, we are not against, often than not. This type of research is either bogus or bias, one of the two. It's either bogus or either bias. You know, Australia, right? Australia was a British colony before. When what was unique about Australia, and I suppose maybe South Africa as well, is that you had many young single European people come to Australia to look for their fortune when it was first a colony. First it was a penal colony. Everybody there was a crook and a thief, and they were thrown by, you know, the UK and England to go and live your life in Australia in the bush in the middle of nowhere. Then you saw when wealth was discovered, like mining, these young European and Irish folk, now all men, coming to that part of the world seeking their fortune. Like how you had here in South Africa as well, that we are better off, you know, in the colonies than we are anywhere else. This resulted in a great interaction between them and especially Aboriginal First Nation women. And therefore it became a concern to South Africa, to rather Australia. What about all these mixed race people that are happening? Their fathers are European. Do we give them a British passport? What if one day they stand up and say, hey, My father was from Luton. My father was from Leicester. My father was from London. My mother is from here, but my father is from there. Give me a passport. I want to go to my ancestral homeland and meet my dada and my dadi out there in London. How could a very racist Britain ever tolerate something like this? That you have boatloads of people who look half like us and half like somebody else now show up in the port of London or Brighton, and what are we going to do with all these people? So what they did is that they funded scientific research to show that these children beings but belong to a different race. They must be herded amongst animals, and therefore you had many scientific research. There's plenty legitimate scientific research taking place. But at the same time, insan and the human being and governments and people will take advantage wherever they see an opportunity to continue their hegemon, and they continue and to continue whatever they believe in. And so at that time, many who had claimed the homosexual lifestyle, they started to fund research, bogus research, paying millions of dollars to scientists to come up with this idea by saying it's natural, innate in the human being. That to behave in this way is not something which is to be discredited. It's not something which is evil. In other words, whitewashing something that humanity had considered to be evil and wrong for hundreds, if not thousands of years, and was criticized in practically every society. All of a sudden, research is now showing that this is something which is legitimate. Now, after all this groundwork is done, you've got your research papers. You've got in every city a precinct dedicated, or a suburb dedicated to homosexual individuals. Now comes phase 4 of militancy and establishing the gay global agenda. How can we take our nonsense all across the world? How can it be such that even in Muslim lands, you will have the same culture, the same precinct that we have? By the way, they were not particularly interested in Muslim lands. They just interested in global proliferation of their ideology. So the first thing that we need to do is define what the gay agenda is, what the homosexual agenda is. And it is defined in this way, that it is an organized effort to produce political, social, and religious change in society that will lead to tolerating an eventual normalization of homosexual relationships. That is their ideology. That is the gay global ideology. What will they do? That they will understand that people are divided into 3 categories. One is same-sex attraction, all about. The thing is that if one had to put a face to it, I mean, who is behind it? And I'll go through this here because I've got a couple of minutes left. That if one had to put a name to it, like how you have Mercedes-Benz or Chrysler or Toyota, if one had to put a name behind the brand of homosexual marketing, there's only one. One organization funds every single gay promoter in the world, for that matter, and that is the Arcus Foundation. I'll refer to, of course, my discussion, not the notes any longer. You can, of course, receive the notes later on after our presentation is over. It's quite self-explanatory. The Arcus Foundation was started by one guy, John Stryker, who's in his 70s at this point in time. John Stryker was a homosexual from already the 60s and 70s. The Stryker group, by the way, they are a medical, they produce medical equipment. And he saw 2 things. One way is to promote his own lifestyle, and the second thing that his community alone. I mean, come to think of it, the amount of things that they require to handle their lifestyle, because it's not a natural lifestyle in any way possible. Although, alhamdulillah, we don't have a proliferation of them in the community, but if one simply has to understand what they require from a medical point of view in order to do whatever they do and satisfy themselves and their fetish and their haram behavior, the medical equipment alone will be like as if you have like a what? Like another vehicle inside the household. You have another horse. You know, like how these people who run horses, they'll tell you that for me to look after the horse is more than me looking after the second and the third car, or even the second wife for that matter. The amount of money I spend on the horse, its feed when it gets sick. And of course, there's much more to say and much more, inshallah, to refine it. But the ideal place to start anything new and to refine it would in fact be Middelburg, and then take it, of course, to the rest of the world. So alhamdulillah, you plant the seed over here and you perfect the crops and the marketing a little later on. But I think you get the picture that what direction is our discussion. At the end of the day, in the conclusion of 1 or 2 minutes, this is how though this is a factual presentation of where the militancy came from, and for information purposes, it may be handy to know. Ultimately, even if a person doesn't know it, to at least understand what is the original Muslim stance on fitna of the day will not be combated by your church, no matter church claims to be, but the fitna of the day on behalf of humanity will only be addressed and combated from the Muslim community. Like how the Muslim community is at the forefront of addressing and combating Zionism, or any ism for that matter. It will be the Muslim community that will stand up against this particular type of behavior. Wa akhiru da'wan alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Jazakumullahu khairan inshallah for your time.
We say Jazakumullahu khairan. Marana's conclusion as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentions cover. Another form of gender which these groups are initiating is Rasulullah also indicated in the narration which we mentioned earlier, that be prompt in doing good deeds before you are overtaken by turbulence, which would be like part of a dark night, where identification and exploitation. Islam categorically prohibits the consumption and dissemination of obscene materials, emphasizing the sanctity of marriage and the dignity of the human soul. We'll request and call our honorable guest, Hazrat Maulana Anis Munshi Sahib, who is also a graduate of Darul Ulum, Azadwal. Maulana is also the Imam of Masjid al-Ansar.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli wa nusallim ala rasulihil kareem amma ba'd. Respected brothers, sisters and dearest listeners, I've been given a very important topic, and that is a topic with regards to pornography. How do I protect myself and my family? Today, if we have to say this has become the jihad of the time, I don't think we'll be over exaggerating this fact. If we really have to look at it, at some point or the other, nearly all of us have been affected directly or indirectly by pornography. So to firstly understand what type of an industry we are discussing, you can follow inshallah as we go along with the presentation. So what kind of an industry we are discussing here? Number one is the largest and most profitable industry in the world. And this is from a case study that was conducted in 2016. You can well imagine how this industry has progressed and how far they have gone in the last couple of years. Number two, it's $100 billion industry that is built on lies, deceit, cheating, abuse, exploitation, suicide, kidnapping, human trafficking, drugs, alcohol, etc. So basically, you name it, it's found there. If you have to look at the lives of, they themselves will confess to you, many of them will say they were actually trafficked into this industry. Many of them will say there was lies that were spoken, and based on that lies they agreed to get involved in the industry. Many of them will tell you how they were cheated upon, the abuse, the exploitation. Many of them, that is not something that a normal person can actually do. In order to do the deed, you need to be out of your normal senses. Therefore, to basically make you numb, you need to resort to drugs and alcohol, which leads many of them to committing suicide. That is why if you study the lives of many performers, you will find the end result, an addiction that has affected young and old. impious and impious. How many a time we sit with a complaint where a person will say, but Mona, my 86-year-old grandmother is watching pornography. Imagine in the Hifz class, the Ustad catches the child with certain pornographic material on his phone, and when he questions him, he says, Mona, from the 20 pictures that are here, only 5 are mine, the other 15 are my father's. So, young and old, pious and impious, are somehow involved in this. It's an industry where performers will do whatever brings them work. That means they're there for the money many a time. They will do whatever brings them work and whatever earns them fame. And this is two things that will destroy a human being. Our ulama explained to us, one is hubbe jah and one is hubbe mal. One is love for fame and the other is love for wealth. If a person has these two sicknesses, it will totally destroy an individual. Next, a very selfish industry happening. You just go with the flow. An industry where the degradation and abuse of women is not marital cases, and there's so much of abuse. And if you really have to look where the root was, then you'll find it all stems from pornography. It's something that is totally unnatural, totally against the fitrat, the natural characteristic with which a person has been created by Allah. The natural fitrat of a human being. No sane person in their right frame of mind will be able to get themselves to do this type of filth. Hence, lies, deceit, etc. are used to lure a person into this industry. And then drugs and alcohol are used to desensitize an individual in order for him or her to engage in all this filth. So based on lies in the beginning, and then alcohol and drugs towards the end. Now, by us watching, we are destroying our own sense of haya, which is an integral part of our iman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us haya. Now when a person defies the dictates of this haya, then that which was supposed to keep him back, that is something that is lost. And when this is lost, then very soon iman is also lost. And that is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions, Inna al-haya wa iman qurina jami'an. Haya and iman go hand in hand, they go together. فَإِذَا رُفِعَ أَحَدُهُمَا رُفِعَ الْآخَرِ. When one is taken away, the other follows. So the more we watch, without realizing, we are destroying the sense of haya, which is something that Allah has created us with. When a person loses haya, فَفْعَلْ مَا شِئْتَ, then do as you wish, you'll become worse than an animal. May Allah protect us all. Now the next is, am I a contributor to this industry? Your sanity. You can't define what they're doing, Allah alone knows. You lose your sanity, you don't realize what you're doing. Now you can't think that you're going to. See, so Allah protect us all. These are some of the signs to tell us that, listen, we are addicted and we need help. Help meaning you can't fight this on your own. If you think you're going to conquer it on your own, you're living in a fool's paradise. You need external help. You need a therapist, you need a life coach, you need a sheikh, somebody who can guide you, a person who can hold you by your hand and help you overcome this. Let us take a look at some of the harms of porn. Number one, deadens the conscience and desensitizes a person. Persistent sin deadens and hardens the heart. It gradually leads a person to a spiritual death. Without you realizing, you just start drifting and drifting and drifting away from Allah, drifting away from Deen. Dissatisfaction, we spoke about it now. Left with the emptiness that sin will always bring. This leads to a person becoming miserable, depressed, frustrated, restricted to itself. Innocent and sheltered seed. It's not a question of if, but rather a question of when they will be exposed to it. When they will be exposed to it. And that is why Hazrat Maulana Yunus Patel rahimahullah, you mentioned once when explaining the harms of television, the brother didn't want to remove the TV from the home until he had a very rude awakening. And that is, he heard some strange noises coming from the children's room. When he went there, he found the TV was on. There was all pictures of all indecent images, and the children were actually acting what they were viewing. That is when he realized, with this TV in the home, in every 5 searches on the importance of keeping good company and not being exposed to all wrong. You say, Allah shukr, Allah kept me away from bad company. Normally all these things, where we learn from? Our friends, isn't it? Someone in school is saying, come check here. So where we learn from? Away from all this, because I always kept good company else to bring all these things to us. So that is why I grew up with such a pure mind. In the biology lesson in standard 8 in grade 10, that is when I fully understood now what is happening and how reproduction actually, takes place. Number 3 is free time, right? If you don't have work there, you don't ever go there. Because if you go there and you don't have control over yourself, you're going to get caught in that web. So the wing gets caught in the web. It moves that way, another part of it gets caught in the web. Then you see the spider running from the bottom and injects its poison into that, and you see motionless. So this is what the worldwide, the WWW is there for. Is there to get you into this web. Once you're stuck, it injects its poison you and you're goner. You're addicted, you're gone. Right? That is why if you don't have control, you don't go there. And even if you have control over yourself, set parameters and limits for yourself. Because nowadays one thing leads to another. You continuously take necessary guidance from. Collective ta'aleem at home is extremely important. So the barakat of ta'aleem, Allah will remove the darkness of the home, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring the noor in the home. Now if your child is already hooked and you got the problem, don't shame the child. You got to help the child. Right? They will never come back to you if you shame them. The honest and open parent and child relationship will break forever. Shaming can wound family relationships and discourage progress in recovery. Right? Sometimes what you can do is both the parents can adopt a different approach. You discuss it amongst yourself. One can be good cop, one can be bad cop. One can take a more stern approach. One can adopt a very loving approach. And then after a while you can swap the roles. Right? So the child doesn't feel the one parent only hates me and the one child only loves me. So you got to sometimes play around with the different roles to see what will be best, what strategy will be most effective. Combat porn with education and love. This has to be ongoing, not once off. We have to become the source of education for our kids. If kids feel their parents are open to listening to their struggles and questions, they'll be more likely to discuss all their challenges instead of hiding their curiosity and searching for it on their own. Curiosity will now lead kids to searching for answers in the wrong places. Now they're going to look for it on the internet. And when looking for it on the internet, they're going to get hooked. Detachment from all those instruments and means that have led him or her towards getting hooked. This is extremely important. Now many a time a parent feels, okay, I'll buy him the cell phone. Someone will say, hey, but you know what, you're giving him the cell phone. Do you know what it can do to him? I got parental controls, I'm sorted. So while filters and monitoring devices are great helps, to keep tabs on internet use, there's no replacement for honest heart-to-heart conversations between parent and their child about the harms of porn. You got to speak to them. Now many of us, we feel, okay, the light is involved in porn. I caught him with a whole lot of DVDs. Get him married. Is marriage the solution? Right? Marriage is only a temporary solution. What is in Arabic? Kullu jadidin nadir. Everything that's new is very enjoyable, very delicious. He's got a new wife. It's a novelty. He's all over his wife. But eventually when the novelty wears off, a person will find himself going back. That haram that you had, that you addicted to, that is going to take you back. You're going to go back for it. The sin doesn't forget you. It comes back to haunt you. The addiction, sin needs to be addressed and rectified. Before you get married, you need to sort out your problem. You need to rectify your ill that you have. And thereafter, when you get married, marriage will provide great support for you. Always remember, a person addicted to porn has everything to lose. You have everything to lose. You got your deen to lose. You got your body to lose. You got your mind to lose. You got your marriage to lose. And you got your akhirah to also lose. May Allah protect us all. Ulama Ikram mentioned, our bodies are unique. The more a person uses his limbs in the right, the more Allah will strengthen the limb. For example, the more you use your hands, physical labor, the more strong your hands will become. The more you use your feet, the more stronger your feet will become. But there is one organ, the more you use it in haram, the weaker it becomes, and it is a private organ. And that is the direct effects of porn. The minute a person watches porn, then something is happening in his body. Hormones are starting to jump. He's starting to get aroused. He can't stop there. He needs to take it one step further, one step further. It'll start with masturbation, and eventually, na'udhu billah, it will lead towards zina. He'll find himself even chasing after his domestic worker. And everybody will say, but what kind of a person are you? Are you mad or what? His own children will find him to be disgusting. When he thinks of it normal, he himself will wonder, how did I do it? But when a person is in the heat of the moment, you don't realize in which hole you're going to run to. You understand? When the cat says meow, the mice run into any hole that they can find. When your desire starts saying meow, you won't know what will happen. You will go to everything without even thinking. Only when you came into the wrong hole, then you'll realize, Ya Allah, what did I do? Where did I come? It's too late. You're gone. Right? Everything is lost. Right? The time to change is now. Right? If you can't change now, how are you going to change later on? Somebody will say, no man, not now. I'm still young. So you're going to destroy yourself. Right? And then when you get married, you're going to have to go Hakim's up. Doctors up. Give me this tablet. Give me, because why? Your body can't function anymore. Your body is like totally numb. Your body is broken. Youngster came to an alim. He says, man, I don't know what to do. Masturbating until I've come to a point where now it's not sperm that is coming out anymore, but rather it's blood that is coming out. Is that what you want? Na'udhu billah. What will happen? Then tomorrow you're sitting in a marriage where you can't have children and the wife is now crying. She's wondering what's going on. And now you're wondering now how I'm going to make my marriage work. Gee, we're living in a life of cause and effect. The wrong things will bring about the wrong consequences. May Allah protect us all. The right will bring the right. The hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will end with this. لا يأتي عليكم يوم أو زمان إلا والذي بعده شر منه حتى تلقوا ربكم سمعته من نبيكم صلى الله عليه وسلم. Simple is, as time goes on, times are only going to get worse. If you can't change today, how are you going to change?
It is also mentioned with regards to this here that part of it is for us to recognize the detrimental effects as Mawlana of education, support, spiritual guidance. We can empower individuals to overcome. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can make it as a means for the person to give up this addiction. Looking at the next topic, which we will discuss or we look at before we go into that topic or before we introduce or call Mawlana Sahib, technology has flourished its way into the cracks of ordinary life over the last few decades. At first, the pre-digital age evolved slowly. Products became digitalized, photos became bits, knowledge moved from encyclopedias to Wikipedia, the phone book became an online directory, printed magazines became websites. Technology's evolution has resulted in the post-digital age, in which digital technology will be a vast, quiet element forming the seamless backbone of life. The internet will be a background utility, noticeable only in its absence. This is now something we need to focus on, which is referred to as digital cocaine. In that aspect, Mawlana will elaborate. Hazrat Mawlana Zakaria Marchi Sahib, Mawlana will address us further. Mawlana, just to give a briefing of Mawlana has served the community of Binoni. Also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted Mawlana for the service of the community of Hawik as well. Instrumental was Mawlana in the establishment of the drug awareness campaign for Darul Ihsan. Mawlana also has very close ta'alluq and relations with Hazrat Mufti Zubair Bayhat Sahib Hafidhullah, as well as being a prolific speaker. Mawlana currently resides in Qurtuba, which is near the area of Johannesburg. Mawlana also runs a drug rehabilitation and wellness center in Middelburg. Many years in drug abuse counseling and working closely with addicts is part of the experience of Mawlana. And Mawlana also understands addiction theoretically as well as in principle. We'll call upon Mawlana to educate us or address us in such a way we'll be able to benefit much more.
Please stand up, inshallah. Let's stand up for 1 or 2 minutes. Don't be scared, I'm not going to make you jog on the spot. Just stand only. Right, let's do a quick exercise while standing in 1 minute. MashaAllah, our two excellent orators have given us, subhanallah, what insight in those topics. It was so much. Now I want you to digest it, inshallah. After you digested it, within the next 30 seconds, just clear your mind. Just clear your mind. nice water flowing outside. Close your eyes and listen to the water. I think you're at Vic Falls, mashallah. Okay, I sat down so you can sit down now, inshallah. Bismillah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Friends, Alhamdulillah, we have had two excellent speakers who have really exhausted those topics, and Alhamdulillah, we benefited tremendously. These two topics that were discussed before, LGBTQ, nobody can say anything, everybody's opinion is the same, it is totally haram. The second topic discussed by Maulana Anis Saab, pornography, there is no second view, it is totally haram. Urwa bin Zubair is using me as a haram police to try and make social media haram. Because you can't say social media is totally haram. It's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. Brothers, let's be honest. Many of us, almost all of us, cannot survive without our phones. We use it for online schooling, our gadgets, our laptops. We use it for education. We use it for business. We use it to do banking. It has made our lives easy. There's no doubt about that. But the question is, are we responsible when using this? And are we overusing it that it's now leading to addiction? There's one fact I can state here tonight. One fact. And that is, there's definitely more social media cocaine addicts. So the topic is digital cocaine. There's definitely more digital cocaine addicts in the world than actual cocaine addicts. There's no doubt about that. But do I and you fall into that category of being classified as a digital cocaine addict? So that's what inshallah we're going to discuss. Now brothers, we have to understand the economics of social media. Social media is not a million or a billion, but $1 trillion industry. There's something called algorithms. You are on this side of the screen. There's high tech on the other side of the screen that's monitoring every move of yours. Anything that you search, anything that you post, anything that you do on the internet is monitored, it's captured, and that data is taken and sold to multinationals, big companies. Then those companies start advertising to you. If you, brothers, try this. Your phone is with you. You don't open the phone and say one word 10 times. Just say Toyota Fortuner, for example. Say 10 times, and I promise you, within the next 24 hours, you're going to get an advert to buy a Toyota Fortuner. We are being watched, we are being monitored. This is the hakikat. This is how evil the system is, the algorithms. So brothers, the question again is social media, am I using social media, or is social media using me? This is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. Friends and elders, the question comes about, we all use our phones, we all use social media, we all sometimes depend on it for our work and other things. But am I addicted? Have I become a social media addict? That is the question. So, let me define addiction. What is addiction? Before I come to defining addiction, I just want to show you something. Right? If you are this person, look at what I'm doing, right? If you are this person, you're on your bed now about to sleep and you're doing this, and this is how you sleep. And in the morning when you get up, this is how you get up. Then I'm afraid to tell you that you are now displaying addictive behavior. And there are many people guilty of this. The last thing in their hand is the phone, and the first thing in the morning they search for is the phone. Let's come to the definition of addiction. So, in simple terms, addiction is the disease of more. I just want more. I cannot get enough. I cannot survive without this. In spite of me knowing the harms, I still want it. This is addiction, brothers. Let me give you the technical meaning or the textbook meaning of addiction. Addiction is a mental obsession coupled with a physical compulsion. I'll give you example, practical examples. A mental obsession coupled with a physical compulsion. Mental obsession, I'll give you 3 examples. So, a person is so obsessed with their phone, they call them phantom messages. He can actually hear and feel his phone buzz and beep. When he takes his phone out of his pocket, there's no message there. He imagined the message. This is mental obsession. A second example of mental obsession. Someone else's phone is beep, it just beeps and buzzes, and he reaches for his phone. He's mentally obsessed. The third example, a person rushes home in the morning to go to work, he's late, and when he reaches the highway, he just took the off-ramp and he realizes that he left his phone at home. He's prepared to take a U-turn on the highway to come back to pick up his phone. This is mental obsession. Then what is physical compulsion? You are on a flight and you are amongst the last people on that flight to put your phone on flight mode. The plane is about to take off, or it's taking off. Now you got no choice. And you are one of the first people before the plane reaches the runway, your phone is on again. Physical compulsion. Right? So, whether you agree or disagree, it's a time for introspection. So let's say this is no and that is yes, right? So as I'm saying, you can nod your head either way, so I can just check. I'm joking. Okay. A second example of physical compulsion. A person is so engrossed in this group, WhatsApp group. He's so engrossed in this debate that's taking place. He takes the phone in the toilet with him because I don't want to miss out. I have to stay in touch. It's a reality, brothers. People are taking the old days, they used to take magazines in the toilet. They're taking their phones in the toilet. That is physical compulsion. Another example of physical compulsion is that a child, and this parents, one boy in my Hifz class, the parent came and said, Maulana, talk to him. His mother took his phone away. He got up to smack his mother. Don't touch my phone. Maulana, what's happening? Physical compulsion. This is part of addiction. Then, brothers, we have, subhanallah, Allah Ta'ala says, وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ عَجُولًا. We have created insan in a state of impatience. Impatient. We want things to happen yesterday. And let me give you the example in the context of social media. You send someone a message and you check, there's 2 blue ticks, and you're getting irritated because he's not replying to you. 5 minutes, 10, now why is he not replying to me? Then you message him again. This is physical compulsion. These are signs of addiction, brothers. So you know where you stand. We all are guilty of this to some extent. Let's firstly admit that we all are guilty of this to some extent. Allah Ta'ala protect us, Allah Ta'ala save us. Friends and elders, now I was just thinking when my both respected colleagues were speaking, the 2 topics that they were given, the LGBT and the pornography. Where is the platform that it is promoted? Social media. So this is a very dangerous tool if it's not used responsibly. Okay, let's move on now. Inshallah, Allah give us barakat in time. I've diagnosed 7 concepts or 7 things that will make a person a digital cocaine addict. There are 7 things. Number 1, it's a simple term called distraction. Distraction. When there's too much of distraction, then that will lead to addiction. So distraction can be broken up into 2 behaviors. The first behavior is overconsumption. We are consuming so much of media. We are consuming so much of media. I'll run through some stats very quickly. There was a poll done in America that a category of kids that are called tweens. Tweens means from the age of 7 to 12. Tweens. Tweens spend nothing less than 5 hours a day on social media. From the age of 7 to 12, there's a question I'm going to address later. Why are parents giving phones to children at this age? Why? Why? I don't understand. What is the need for that tween? Not even a teen. From the age of 7 to 12. Why are children given? But we'll discuss that later. 5 hours. Teenagers are spending 1/3 of the day, 8 to 9 hours on social media daily. Research is now going on. It's in process. Children are now getting seizures because of overindulgence in social media. It's now affecting them mentally. Kids that play more than 20 hours of video games, online gaming, when they were compared to drug addicts who are taking hardcore drugs, the brain scans were similar. The brain scans were similar. The question is, brothers, why are we over-consuming? We are over-consuming, our children are over-consuming. And really, brothers, let's be honest. Let's be honest, aimless scrolling, reel after reel. So a brother comes from Isha, mashallah, now it's winter, Isha is early, and then he has his tea, whatever, now he jumps into bed and he takes his phone. Watching video after video, reel after reel. Next thing he realizes it's 12 o'clock. He will never make it for Fajr in the masjid. He will never make it for Fajr in the masjid. Aimless scrolling. We benefited absolutely nothing. This is addiction. It distracts us so much that we don't realize we're getting addicted. So that was overconsumption. The second one, brothers, what are we consuming? What are our children consuming? Maulana Anisab explained, he spelled it out. He spelled it out. I often say, we are one family, we live under one roof, but in different worlds. One family, we live under one roof, but in different worlds. The father is busy with his sports. Mother is busy on her WhatsApp social groups. And the one child is gaming. One child is on TikTok. I'll just repeat what Maulana said. One child possibly could be watching haram. The Wi-Fi is on. Everyone is free reign. Do what you want. We are literally under one roof physically, but figuratively in different worlds. Friends and elders, the first thing we need to ask ourselves, this content that I am watching, is it beneficial or detrimental to my iman? That is the question. If it's beneficial to my iman, then I will consume a limited amount, a reasonable amount. But if it's detrimental to my iman, then I cannot. It's not worth it. I cannot gamble my iman for some cheap entertainment. Friends and elders, what are some of the harms? Right? So we spoke about this disconnect between parents and children. People have become so addicted to social media. Husband and wife are sitting literally 5 centimeters, 10 centimeters apart. The husband will send his wife a message on the WhatsApp. The wife will reply on the WhatsApp. We have become obsessed. We've become distracted. So distracted with social media. This connection, this basic vital social tool of connecting with your family. Brothers, what is the remedy for this? And we have to be disciplined, brothers. We have to be disciplined. There must be a cut-off time. As the father of the house, as the Amir of the house, 8 o'clock, Wi-Fi goes off. That is the rule of my house. If you don't like it, go stay somewhere else. Really. There's no other way. There is no other way. Abi, I'm bored. Mommy, I'm bored. I don't know what to do. You know what? I got news for you. Boredom creates creativity. It enhances creativity. A child is bored. They won't sit. They will go and do something. They will go and do something. Try it and see. Brothers, what are we? You see this connection. This connecting with each other. The connecting with each other is so important That's how we grew up. We grew up connecting. Take your children one side, play board games. Play some games in the house. Tell stories, sit down, face to face. Go in the kitchen, go bake a cake. Really, I'm serious. And I promise you the value in that, the wholesomeness in that. You're connecting with your children. It's such a beautiful thing. But as Maulana, I'm just referring to my colleagues, they gave excellent bayans. The problem is we're pushing them away because we got our own agendas on the phone. Allah forgive us. Allah forgive us. So friends and let's go further. Coming back to this point now, at what age do you give a child a phone? Really, brothers, this is something extremely, extremely important. كُلُّكُمْ رَاءٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. Each and every one of you is put in that position of authority. Fathers, I'm speaking to you primarily. Allah is going to ask you with regards to your subordinates. They are your responsibility. You cannot give a little child a phone. You can't. We'll come to the harms of that a bit later. When you give a child a phone, listen to this line. When you give a child a phone, you have not introduced your child to the world, but you've introduced the world to your child. That innocent, masoom heart and mind is now going to be corrupted. Is now going to corrupt it. Allah forbid, I'm linking up with the two topics before. Your child comes home tomorrow. Your son walks in the house. Daddy, meet my partner, Steve. This is a reality. This is a reality. A father phoned me. Maulana, I need to see you. No problem, bhai. I'm here. Okay, we'll meet at that coffee shop. Chalo, we'll meet there. I go there, uncle is there, Appa is next to him with a parda, Appa is crying. Chalo, let me see. He said, no, come sit. I say, what's wrong, bhai? What drug your son is using? No, it's not drugs. Okay. When I came home from work last week, earlier, I found my son in bed with a Hindu boy. These are the realities. It's scary. But if we don't take that response, we are exposing the world to them. The world will corrupt them. There's filth in this dunya. So brothers, please, let's focus on the topic. So put screen time apps. There's screen time apps. There are certain apps that you can block certain websites. If you are giving your child the phone, then make sure you got systems in place. And there must be rules, there must be incentives. Yes, you'll get the phone on the weekend. If I get a good report from your Hifz Ustad, and then we have to create these things. Incentivize things, and then children will respond. And you give them the phone, but at a limited time, control, and then taken back. The next aspect, friends and elders, is that I'm so distracted with the social media that am I completing my amal for the day? Did I read Quran today? Did I make dhikr today? Did I read Durood Sharif today? We're so busy, all those a'mal that we need, we are leaving it out. Friends and elders, a fourth harm of overindulging and over-consuming and consuming the wrong things is that our children today, our women folk, people are following influences. We are so intoxicated with the lives of others. A point came to mind when Anis was speaking, is that this influencer, when his cat dies, we know about it. And his children were so sad, mashallah. What if he's gay? My sister, you're following some recipe, some chef, some whoever. What if that woman is a lesbian? But we're following these people. We're following this. الرجل على دين خليله فلينظر أحدكم من يخالل. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, your friendship will determine your akhirat. Your friendship in this world will, if you follow the wrong people, they're going to take you Jahannam with them. We have to be so careful. And one is I have a physical friend. Okay, so you're my friend. I meet you at Salah. I meet you on the weekend. I'm busy, you busy. Okay, we may spend 1 hour on the weekend together. This phone is in your hand. You are following that influencer. You are in that person's company 24/7. 24/7. Let us observe and understand who are our friends and who are our children befriending. We come on to the next one. So the second diagnosis is, one is overconsumption and consuming the wrong content. The second one is indulging. engaging, posting. Brothers, why do people advertise their lives? Why? I go to a restaurant, before I take the meal, click, post it. My son came from school, he's looking tired, click, post it. I bought a new shoe for him, click, post it. What is wrong? Really, brothers, do we need other people to acknowledge us, for us to be happy? Other people are dictating our happiness. We're advertising, we went to this restaurant, we went here, we went there. What are we doing? See, there's two aspects here. Sadaqah jariyah. So we need to create as much as sadaqah jariyah as much as we can before we leave this world. So we in our qabr and we're smiling, inshallah. There's something called gunah jariyah, brothers. There's something called gunah jariyah. Allah save us. يُنَبَّأُ الْإِنسَانِ يَوْمَئِذٍ بِمَا قَدَّمَ وَأَخَرَ. Allah will inform each and every one of us on the day of Qiyamah of the actions we left behind and the actions we brought. A man has posted something immoral. A sister has posted something immoral in the morning and they pass away in the evening. As long as people are forwarding that person is crying in their qabr. Gunah jariyah. Let us be careful, brothers. The social media is extremely dangerous. Then, because we want to keep followers and we want to increase our followers, people cross the line. I see this fault with many Muslim sisters. I'm not putting you all down or anything. Muslim sister from a good house. So now she's posting on her DP the pictures from the back. You can't see her face. Slowly the camera moves. Now you only can see one part of the face. And in a short while with desensitizing, and now her hijab is off and she's posting those pictures. وَلَا يُبْدِينَ زِينَتَهُنَّ. The ayat of the Quran is clear. Do not expose your beauty. Your beauty is for your husband. It's not for the whole world. Let's move on, friends. There's so much to say. Right, so what happens? This is important. What happens? I'm just going to cut out a few things because of time, right? You are advertising your life, consistently showing the world your joys, your happiness, your trips to different restaurants, your overseas holidays. Brothers, you're bringing the eyes of the world on you. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Al-aynu haqqun. Al-aynu haqqun. Nazar is a hakikat. Now you phone, Maulana, you got taweez. I'm just anxious. Depression. I got insomnia. I can't sleep. My son is not getting better. He's just getting sick all the time. You're advertising your family. You're advertising your life. Eyes of people are coming on you. How are you going to be happy? Brothers, keep this in mind. Let's move on. Time is running. Or unless we just one more aspect. You gone overseas for a holiday. MashaAllah. Allah give you barakat. Now you're splashing your whole holiday on social media. And your brother is sitting. Subhanallah. I didn't even start. 5 minutes. Subhanallah. But there's some addicts here, so. Chalo, inshallah. Okay, let's leave that example. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next diagnosis. There's some very important points. I'm just going to touch on the important things, right? We're not going to go into detail. Indoctrination. Brothers, this is so important. Who is a social psychologist? So I'll just read it quickly. Social psychology is the scientific study of how the human psyche works and the study of behavioral patterns of people and how they interact and influence others. Right? So in this thing now, I want to touch on something called echo chambers. Echo chambers. What's an echo chamber? An echo chamber is you want to hang out with people who are like-minded. That's an echo chamber. Now I only start following people who are saying things that I agree with. Now let me give you a practical example. There's a teenager. He's following some influencer. This influencer doesn't know psychology at all. This influencer will tell him, let me tell you who is a narcissist. Let me tell you what is toxic. Let me tell you how to set boundaries. Let me tell you what's gaslighting. Then this youngster says, think my dad is a narcissist, man. Yeah. My mom, she's toxic, man. I need to set boundaries with my parents now. You know, my husband, he always gaslights me. We don't even know the meanings of these things, but we saw it from this influencer, and father and mother tell us something, they're gaslighting us. We have become so gullible, brothers, so gullible. We just consume things and we digest them, and we don't care. Let's move on. Maulana is looking at me with some daggers here, so let's move on quickly. Right, so brothers, this behavior and this indoctrination is making us ugly, really making us ugly. We're going to leave all that. We're going to come to the next diagnosis quickly. People are changing their personality. There's another beautiful example here. I'll just run through it quickly, and then inshallah we come to the last part, right? Okay. The social psychologists have done a study on human courtesy. What is human courtesy? Okay, so this is important now. So there's a function, there's a braai at Dada's house. Everyone comes there, mashallah. All the youngsters, everyone is there. There's a good meal, the braai, everyone enjoyed it. Now we're exiting, and the youngster opens the door for his older uncle, you know, uncle, you go first, you know. They say age before beauty, you know, you go first, right, mashallah. No, but you standing on the right, you go first. Daddy is coming, or Foy is coming, Foy. Ladies first, you go first, mashallah. Because there's interaction, we are close. The same group of people jump into their cars and they going back home. Now someone cuts you. Subhanallah, courtesy out of the window. I don't know which finger they pick up, one of the fingers they pick up. Vulgarity. Subhanallah. When you are in close proximity, there was courtesy. There's only separation of cars. Now let's go further, brothers. Someone in another town, someone in another continent, you're on social media. That meek, humble person becomes a Fir'aun of social media. The way his attitude changes. You cannot be, then you get on WhatsApp, war room. Subhanallah, war room? Now they posted something on there. There's two groups starting a fight and a debate now. And Ya Allah, the behavior. What is wrong with insan? What is wrong with us? That person on the other side could be my ustad. No respect. Absolutely no respect. Social media is transforming us into monsters, brothers. This is becoming a real addiction. I'm going to go right to the end because that was my promise. I'm leaving all this content out. Let's go right to the end. How do we navigate out of this, brothers? How do we navigate out of this? So I'm going to mention 5 points here very quickly. I'll run through them. Number one, admit your addiction and make sincere tawbah. Sincere, Ya Allah, enough is enough. Make sincere tawbah. And brothers, this thing is corrupting our hearts. Dabba ilaykum da'ul umami qablakum. Nabi Sallallahu said, there's crept upon you two diseases of the nations before you. Al-hasadu wal-baghda. Jealousy and resentment. And these two things, brothers, they are so dangerous. Nabi Sallallahu said that hiya al-haliqa. It is that which shaves off. And Nabi Sallallahu said, I'm not saying shaving your hair. It shaves off your deen. It shaves off your deen. The jealousy on social media, the enmity, the resentments. Allah save us. Second, establish controls and measures. There must be a time where the data is switched off, and this applies to parents and children alike. Number 3, quality time. Spend quality time. When you're giving Allah Ta'ala quality time, cut out your phone. You are reading Quran, put your phone away. Don't corrupt the time you've given to Allah Ta'ala with social media. Number 4, don't have social media apps on your phone that you don't need. And number 5, we will complete, brothers. Hypothetical question. The ulama of the past used to say this, subhanallah, Allah reward them. Hypothetical. We went to the masjid, and you know who came to the masjid? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Again, hypothetical question. He met everybody, and he met you. I'm coming to your house in 5 minutes. We'll go home, and what will happen, brothers? In the old days, someone to tell me, you could take the TV and throw it away. Nabi Sallallahu is coming to my house. Nabi Sallallahu is coming to my house. How can there be a TV in my house? The ulama of the past used to say this. Brothers, hypothetical questions. If Nabi Sallallahu come here now, can I give him my phone? And said, Ya Rasulullah, look through it. Can I do that? Leave Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that's hypothetical. Can I give my phone to my father and say, to my ustad? If I can't do that, then unfortunately I'm addicted. Allah guide you, Allah guide me, Allah protect us. Jazakumullah to Madrasa Urwa bin Zubair for this beautiful program. And inshallah, we make dua to Allah Ta'ala that Allah Ta'ala inspires whatever our speakers have presented. We need to digest it. We need to make amal, brothers. Amal is the most important thing. Allah Ta'ala inspire you, inspire me. Allah Ta'ala protect us, protect the ummah, protect our children. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Say Jazakumullahu khairan to Maulana for enlightening us on the importance of an addiction which many of us do have to a certain extent. Just to end off with this point where they mentioned that digital addiction causes emotional deterioration. And they mentioned the irony of this is that the more we stimulate the brain, over time it starts to shut down and we start to lose emotional feelings. So we thank one and all for presenting themselves, for coming forth to participate in this wonderful program, and more importantly, we would like to thank our esteemed guests for availing themselves to come forth and make it such that this program be such that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts it from us, and be such that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it bring a form of realization to each and every one of us. We understand what are the parameters of Islam, the parameters of the Sharia. We'll end off with a dhikr by Maulana Ali Sahib inshallah, as well as the final dua.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Before we commence with the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what we need, the reason for us ending off with the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one of the best ways to overcome all these fitan that we have discussed tonight, all these challenges, is through the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a light which lightens our heart and it removes all the darknesses from our hearts. All the spiritual maladies and ailments that we suffer from, inshallah, through the barakat of taking Allah's pure name, this dirty heart of ours will be cleansed with the beautiful name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the inclination towards doing good will be found, inshallah al-aziz. That is why this is just an exercise tonight. But inshallah, if we take our time daily to make the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we ourselves will experience a light in our hearts. And that light will now be a guide and will assist us to navigate through all these challenges that we spoke about. May Allah ta'ala grant us understanding. So 2 dhikrs we'll make. One is La ilaha illallah. Right? So many of us sitting here tonight, we realize that our hearts were in the wrong place, inclined towards certain harams. So La ilaha, there is no deity illallah, only Allah, meaning I'm now going to take out everything else other than Allah from my heart, and only Allah should be brought in the heart. So take out everything else other than Allah and only Allah, and then inshallah we'll say Allah, 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 the beautiful name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to fill our hearts with the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فاعلم أنه لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم لا إله إلا الله 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 محمد رسول الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم لا إله إلا الله 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 محمد رسول الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم الله جل جلاله عم نوانه الله 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 Allah, 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 Allah. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadun Rasulullah, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us all. Inshallah, we'll end up with a short dua. Alhamdulillahi alladhi hadana li hadha wa ma kunna linahtadiya lawla an hadana Allah. اللهم لك الحمد كله ولك الشكر كله اللهم لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنك ما أثنيت على نفسك اللهم اجز عنا نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم بما هو أهله يا رب صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم اللهم أحسن عاقبتنا في الأمور كلها وأجرنا من خزي الدنيا وعذاب الآخرة ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين ويا ذا القوة المتين ويا راحم المساكين ويا أرحم الراحمين ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين اللهم رحمتك نرجو فلا تكلنا إلى أنفسنا طرفة عين وأصلح لنا شأننا كله لا إله إلا أنت اللهم إنا ضعفاء فقو في رضاك ضعفنا وخذ إلى الخير بنواصينا واجعل الإسلام منتهى رضائنا اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من العجز والكسل ونعوذ بك من الجبن والبخل ونعوذ بك من غلبة الدين وقهر الرجال Ya Allah, Ya most merciful Allah, Ya Allah, forgive all our sins. Ya Allah, we have come here today, Ya Allah, with great expectations, Ya Allah, putting our weaknesses in front, Ya Allah, with hope that, Ya Allah, will benefit, inshallah, today, Ya Allah, to put this program together, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, accept it, Ya Allah, and make it beneficial for one and all, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, when we leave this gathering, Ya Allah, grant us total forgiveness, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, ulama explain to us our minor sins will be forgiven when we leave the gatherings of deen, Ya Allah. But Ya Allah, after hearing so much, Ya Allah, you know the wrongs that we have committed in the past, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, forgive all our major sins as well, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, whatever sins we have committed, Ya Allah, be in the form of pornography, Ya Allah, be in the form of, Ya Allah, misusing our eyes, our ears, our tongue, Ya Allah, our private organs, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, misusing the ni'mas that you have bestowed upon us, Ya Allah, forgive us, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, na shukri we are, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, you've given us your ni'mas, Ya Allah. Instead of appreciating your ni'mas, Ya Allah, we have used your ni'mas in your disobedience, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, don't ever deprive us, Ya Allah, of your bounties, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, don't close your doors from us, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, keep us away from haram, Ya Allah. Keep haram away from us, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, become ours and make us yours, Ya Allah. Put your love in our hearts, Ya Allah. Love for your obedience in our hearts, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, take our hearts towards your obedience, Ya Allah. Make halal beloved to us, Ya Allah. Make it easy for us to derive pleasure in halal, Ya Allah. Make haram, Ya Allah, despicable to us, Ya Allah. Take our hearts away from haram, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, create nafrat and hatred in our hearts for all these haram, Ya Allah. All this fitan, Ya Allah, that we are facing on a daily basis, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, protect us and our offspring, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, protect us and our offspring, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we're living in challenging times, Ya Allah. Make it easy for us to make correct decisions with regards to the upbringing of our children, Ya Allah. Be it with regards to the school they attend, the madrasa they attend, the scholars they come into contact with, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, protect us, Ya Allah. Guide us, Ya Allah, to make correct decisions, Ya Allah. Enhance our knowledge of deen, Ya Allah. Give us the willpower, Ya Allah, to stand up, Ya Allah, against haram, Ya Allah, to face the challenges that we are facing on a daily basis, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, strengthen our youth, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, strengthen our resolve, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, grant us the himmah, the courage, the yaqeen, the conviction to overcome all these difficulties and challenges, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we are nothing without your help and assistance, Ya Allah. Help us at each and every step of our lives, Ya Allah. Make us successful, Ya Allah. Grant us the goodness of this world, the goodness of akhirat, Ya Allah. Protect us from the evils of this world, the trials and tribulations of this world, Ya Allah. And protect us from the adhab of akhirah, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, let it be when we leave here, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we leave clean, Ya Allah, from all sin like the day our mothers gave birth to us, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we make a promise to you, Ya Allah. We make a covenant to you, Ya Allah. We're going to abstain from all the wrongs we have been committing, Ya Allah. We're going to guard our gazes, Ya Allah. We're going to guard our private organs, Ya Allah. We're going to guard, Ya Allah, every ni'mat that you have bestowed upon us. We will use it, Ya Allah, in the correct manner, and we will not abuse it, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, protect our haya, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, keep us with iman, Ya Allah. Take us away from this world with iman, Ya Allah. Resurrect us on the day of Qiyamah with perfect iman, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, be happy with us, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, whatever was said in tonight's program, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, accept it, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, forgive all our shortcomings and all our mistakes, Ya Allah. Make it easy for us to make amal, Ya Allah. Make it easy for us to practice, Ya Allah. Make it a means of our najat in this world, qabr and akhirah, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, through the love that you have for Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Allah, fulfill all our permissible needs, Ya Allah. Grant us whatever we have asked for, Ya Allah. You know what is in our hearts, and Ya Allah, you know our needs better than we know it, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, safeguard us from all wrong, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, be happy with us going through, Ya Allah. People are saying it's like a sign of Qiyamah, seen from Qiyamah, Ya Allah. Where people are running and fleeing in different directions, not knowing which way to turn to, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we're sitting in the comfort of our homes, Ya Allah. In the comfort of our institutions, enjoying your bounties, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, assist them, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, assist them, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, assist them, Ya Allah. You in your infinite hikmah and wisdom, Ya Allah, you know why you're allowing all this to happen, Ya Allah. All this is happening under your watchful gaze, Ya Allah. Ummah is becoming despondent, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, allow your unseen help and assistance to descend, Ya Allah. Protect our Muslim brethren, Ya Allah. The Muslim women and children, males and females, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, save us from your punishment and your adhab, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we are weak, Ya Allah. Don't test us, Ya Allah, with that which we cannot manage, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, shower your special mercies upon us, Ya Allah. Replace the difficulty with ease and comfort, Ya Allah. Replace the trials and tests, Ya Allah, with ease and prosperity, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, help us, Ya Allah, and fulfill all our needs, Ya Allah. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم اللهم إنا نسألك من كل خير ما سألك منه نبيك وحبيبك سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ونعوذ بك من كل شر استعاذك منه نبيك وحبيبك سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم أنت المستعان عليك البلاغ لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين جزاكم الله خير.
We do have some light snacks for us to partake of, tea and coffee. We request all to have and take something before departure. Jazakumullah khair.